Hi everyone, I'm Jeannie and let's get Zebra Strong. Today we're talking about language and how language can affect our movement and our experience of movement. So if you've been told to squeeze, push, pull when you've been doing exercises, those are connotations of force and they can create tension in the body. So if I tell you to squeeze your tummy and squeeze your ribs and pull your ribs in, they're going to instantly create a sense of tension inside. Now, we want to facilitate movement without those connotations of force, so a much softer approach. And then when we're told to squeeze, for example, ribs, etc., they're going to cause tension around the rib cage, which could potentially lead to those subluxations. Now, when I'm working with clients, we want to have that much softer approach around the rib cage because I believe, and again, this is just my opinion, just my clinical experience, but I've found that with a softer approach around that thoracic spine, we have much less, if any, subluxations. If you think about it this way, the rib cage obviously has muscle attachments all the way around it. It's a three-dimensional structure. Now, if I've been squeezing and guarding or bracing quite a lot in my rib cage, that connective tissue and those muscles are going to be quite tense around the rib cage. So that if I suddenly twist or reach up and grab something, there's not enough elastic in that rib cage structure. So as I reach for something, could that potentially cause a rib to pop out and sublux? That's just my theory, that if we soften this structure, I'm going to have more elastic, more give, so I can reach for something without that potential subluxation. So how do we encourage a softening around the thoracic spine, around the rib cage, around the shoulders, if we're, habitually tight? Breathing. Fantastic, easy to do, lovely way to start to get a sense of letting go of guarding patterns around the thoracic spine. Now we're going to do it on our side today, so I've just got a little cushion for my head. You could do this in bed. Just make sure your neck is supported and that you feel comfortable. If you don't want to lie on your side, of course you can do it on your back. You could do it seated as well. But I'm going to lie on my side and just give you a little example of how we could start to soften that rib cage. So I'm going to settle in, supporting my neck. I'm going to bend my knees so I've got a nice base of support. I feel nice and stable. And I'm just going to rest one hand on the top of my rib. Now, you don't have to do that if that's uncomfortable for your shoulder joint. Okay, so if you prefer not to, you could just rest your hand by your side. Okay, but I'm just going to put it here because it gives me a bit of proprioceptive feedback on that upper rib cage. The other rib cage is obviously softening down into the ground. Again, if you'd like to close your eyes, because it can help you sort of get a bit more connection, that's fine. Go ahead and close your eyes. And all I want you to do is very gently try and breathe into this top rib cage. Now, without forcing it, so we're not sort of inhaling violently and forcing the rib cage up. We're going to take a gentle inhale through the nose. And you might notice that you feel your ribs gently expanding into your hand if you've got your hand here. As you exhale, soften that rib cage. Let it melt back down into the ground. So it's nice holding your hand because you can feel the front, the side and the back of the rib cage moving. And melting as you exhale. And I'm just going to rest my hand here. So again, you could think about breathing from the armpit all the way down your side body and then letting it soften and let go. And don't worry if you're doing this and you find that quite challenging, because if you have been tight through here, it might be that there's not that expansive capacity at the moment in the lungs and in that connective tissue around the ribs. But just being here and focusing on the breath into a side body can be really, really useful for getting that increased lung capacity, getting the softening of the tissue, and getting you a proprioceptive awareness that the rib cage can move gently when you inhale and exhale, which it is designed to do. It is supposed to move when you inhale and exhale, but oftentimes it gets a little bit sticky and a little bit stuck. And that's when we start to have issues around here, that tightness and those restrictions. So thinking about our choice of language and how that choice of language and the words that we hear and the words that are said to us can have a huge impact on how our movement potential and our enjoyment of movement is going to come. So thank you for listening. Leave me a comment in the comment box and I'll get back to you. But until next time, keep zebra strong.